It's Michael and Michael on the front row. Green flag is out. We're racing at Atlanta. Oh, stack up. Further back in the field, that's Terheimer in the wall. One is around in the back. I think we're still green here. Matt Maltenbaltz and Chris Voiles both went spinning there on the front stretch. And a few drivers got a piece of it. Matt Burkhart, Chris Voiles both have meatball flags. Their races might be over just as quick as they started.
Wow, that's not good for anybody. And the back half of the field got really stacked up because of everything. So definitely already at a disadvantage. Not even to the start-finish line, really, of
one
this
more in the
race.
wall. That's John Pansilla. He just rode the wall all the way in the back half of the quad over there into turn number 1. Pull it back down off the wall. Meanwhile, Michael Milfeld from the outside pole took the top spot from Justin Michael, who is content just to ride for now. Here's Rob Haynes making a move on the outside to get around the 87. All of a sudden, though, we're 3 wide for the race lead out of nowhere. Maul on the inside, and oh my God, that was almost disaster.
Schulte back on the Larson line, up top, carrying the speed out of the corner, able to get out front.
2 laps to go. Schulte gonna look high. I think out of range to make a move here, but maybe lining one up for turn 3. Michael fading away. A mile and a half to go. The battle is on for second. Schulte with a move to the outside of Justin Michael. All this happening in Scott Patton's rear view. Schulte to second. A 90-yard Hail Mary incoming here into turn number 3. Does Schulte have anything at all?
He's got to
run!
He's got to run!
He's got the run! Patton's out of gas! Andrew Schulte steals the win in Atlanta! Greg Maul had pit on the white flag lap. He ran out of gas. Scott Patton was out there longer than Maul. Patton out of 4, out of gas. And Andrew Schulte out of nowhere with the win. And now I think Schulte's out of gas.
I was going to say Justin Michael pulled down immediately as well. He might be out of gas too. Unbelievable stuff here.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon cave, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Not open here now. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
An empty plastic bottle would give you 50 cents. A soda can, 60 cents. A used food container, 80. Wondering why I know this? Because that's my job. I am a trash picker at my school.
Harry, the trash prince is on a roll today. And how is your trashy affair with Bella coming? She lets you kiss her with that stink?
Their words don't bother me. They don't know why I do what I do. And my secret. I edge close to my class when I hear Bella and her friend talking.
You can't be serious, Bella. You want me to break up with him for you? I would do it myself if his poverty didn't give me the creeps. You are unbelievable.
I come face to face with Bella's friend. She knew I heard the conversation and couldn't meet my eyes. She hands me the new phone I bought for Bella and walks away. I saved for months to buy her this phone. I walk down the empty corridor with a heavy heart, pick the phone out of the box, slip my SIM in, and switch it on. When... Harry Parker, you have passed the poverty test? You are now the heir to Parker family's billions worth of assets?
If Harry is a billionaire, why does he work as a trash picker? What is his big secret? Why did he not reveal his billionaire status to Bella? To know more, listen to the audio series Destiny Reloaded, only on Pocket FM.
And now, our feature presentation. Welcome everybody to coverage of the Maximum Velocity CNC Home Designs Truck Series, round number 3 of the 2024 season tonight at Las Vegas. We have a lot of high expectations after 2 electric opening rounds to this season. What does Las Vegas have in store tonight for the high rollers of truck racing here on Turn 200? We're going to find out. It's Tommy Cook. It's Matt Williamson. Brother man, Las Vegas, interesting dynamics, especially post-oval refresh. But one thing is for sure, these drivers are raring and ready to go.
Yeah, certainly. We'll talk about, more of the dynamics of Las Vegas as we go along here, post-oval refresh era. But, yeah, I mean, we look at the last 2 weeks, just unbelievable races from top to bottom for both of them. And, should mention, no cautions yet this season. Are we going to have the first caution here tonight? I don't know. We'll see. I think it's very possible if we get through the first 10, 15, 20 laps without a caution, this one could easily go caution-free as well. So I think it's all going to depend on that start.
Qualifying is about to open up. We'll do our traditional Max V driver interview after the driver that I have in mind completes their qualifying run. In the meantime, why don't we take a look at the points after 2 weeks of racing here in Max V.
Yep, here's a look at those point standings for you. Round 2 of 26 complete. Should that be 36?
26 regular season.
20. Oh, I see. Yep, you're right. I forgot about that. So regular season, round 2 of 26. My apologies. Justin Michael sits atop the points with 74. Heath Smith, Charlie Widener, Johnny Hamby, Michael Milfelt. They're going to be in the top 5 here. Everybody's real close, obviously. Only two rounds into the season. Andrew Schulte and Rob Haynes actually tied for 6. Kerry Cleaver, Brad Slagle, and Christopher Howell are going to be in your top 10 right now. Some very notable names not going to be here tonight, so things could get shaken up a little bit here as we go into round number 4 next week.
Yes, indeed, and I was just about to bring that up. We've got 28 drivers here tonight, but some notable absentees, like you said. Some drivers are off and partying in Las Vegas ahead of Cup weekend for round number 3 of the actual NASCAR season. Most notably, Justin Michael, Scott Patton, both the podium finishers last week. I think Greg Mall is out there as well. Thought maybe Andrew Schulte was out there, but he is a late entry into tonight's event. So Schulte looking to follow up his rather thrilling victory last week at Las Vegas, or at Atlanta 2008, going from 3rd to 1st on the final lap to pick up his second post-revival Max V victory in the CNC Home Designs Truck Series. Watching qualifying right now, top of the board, at least for now, Will Kirk with a 30.58.
Yeah, and speaking of Will Kirk, there's Michelle in the chat. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Goodleaf Archives and Shelly Mall hanging out here with us as well so far tonight. Anybody else? Go ahead and say hello. But yeah, Will Kirk has been very good in qualifying so far this season. Had a bit of a rough time, if I remember correctly, at Atlanta, but looking to turn that around. I mean, this is a track where qualifying effort is going to be very important. So if Will can stay in there in the top 6 or 7 here in the qualifying effort, he's setting himself up for a good night.
We are going to try and talk to a driver who just finished up his qualifying run. Third of the points coming into tonight, Charlie Widener is the man we're bringing into booth 200. You got a copy, partner?
I sure do. You got me?
Absolutely. Great to hear from you. And you've gotten off to a pretty good start, I'd say, this season, averaging a 5th place finish headed into tonight. Post-Oval Refresh Las Vegas is an interesting place to be. What are you expecting in terms of the racing tonight, and what's the goal?
The goal is to try to get up front and stay up there. It's gonna be crazy for the first few laps while these tires are still fresh. You can pretty much race anywhere on the track. Low line's definitely the fastest for the first part of the run, so it's gonna be a lot of exciting racing going on here.
You got anybody you want to shout out ahead of the race tonight?
I'm just gonna shout out my teammates, Heath, Johnny, and Mike. Let's get out there and have a good race.
Absolutely, partner. Best of luck to you. 7th place finisher last time here, Charlie Widener, and looking forward to talking to you after it.
See you.
Third in the points. Pretty good start for old Charlie, who's had some thrilling moments here on turn 200, and was a part of the finish, the quintessential moment of February. It'll definitely be at the top of the turn 10, not to spoil anything. That should be coming out here in the next couple of days. But already chat is popping off. Shelly Mull in the chat saying, have fun, Bandit guys in Vegas. Yes, indeed. D. Nicole is cheering on Wally Turheimer. Wally was pretty quick in practice. I think probably a little bit further down the starting order than he would like to be. Down in P15 provisionally right now. Michelle Kirk cheering on Will. He did slip off provisional pole, but not too far. He's on the outside of row number 2 with 30 seconds left to go in queue. And, of course, Goodleaf Archives hanging out. I bought a bag of Idaho potatoes today just for you, Goodleaf. So hopefully they passed your quality inspection from farm to table. So that's one of the weirder things I think I've ever said on the channel here. But regardless, 10 seconds left to go in qualifying. Interesting racing that we're going to have here tonight. If you were here with us with the Venom Truck Series, I think this race is right around the same length, and that had a lot of dynamics going on for the Venom boys not too long ago. So let's get after it here tonight. Rob Haynes, pretty good run last week at Atlanta 08. Now will be at the front of the field once again. Ron Mitten going to line up to his outside. Gary Maydew is back for the second time in his Max V career post-revival, starting in 3rd. Will Kirk will line up on the outside of row number 2. Ted Moser also back for his second start tonight, starting P5. Matt Burkhardt back up at the front of the field in 6th. Heath Smith, the Daytona winner, starting in the 7th position. Matt Rodolasso, podium finisher from Daytona as well, will line up to his outside. Riley Tilton was awfully fast last week, but did not get to finish that race. He will line up in 9th. Next to newcomer Jacob Gibson, making his first career Max V start tonight in 10th. Andrew Schultz, the reigning champ and last week's winner, lining up in 11th next to Matt Montenbald, who had a quick exit at Atlanta. He starts in 12th. Brendan Gregg charged up through the field en route to nearly a top 5 finish. He will start at 13th next to Michael Milfeld, who led a lot of laps last week at Atlanta. Wally Turheimer, Johnny Hamby on row number 8. It is Chris Boyles and Winley Evernham on row 9. John Pinsola and Charlie Widener back there in 20th. Ryan McRoberts, the last driver to post in time, in 21st. James Lehman, Bill Paradise, Brad Slagle, Garrett Potts, Nate Wright, and Zachary Groover, all making their first career Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series start tonight. They make it through 27th. Michael Van was one of the faster drivers in practice. He is going to start in 28th and round out this field. As Matt, it is a cloudy night here at Las Vegas. So what does that do to the track temperature, and how does that affect the strategy for tonight?
Yeah, it's going to make the track temperature very cool. In fact, one of the coolest track temperatures I've ever seen in the sim, 67 degrees. So very cool track temperature. Yeah, that is quite interesting, to be honest. I don't know if I've ever seen it that cool. So what it's going to do for these drivers, it's going to give them a lot of grip around Las Vegas here. They're going to have to work the tires in a little bit to begin with, but shouldn't be too bad. We'll talk about that as this race goes along. We got a lot to talk about there with the oval refresh. Fuel window here, we got 70% capacity in the fuel tank, so it's going to be about 35 laps. Majority of the drivers last season went 28 to 33, but you can stretch it a little bit longer than that if you wish. This race, 5 laps shorter than last season. We got 105 laps tonight. They do have 4 extra sets of tires. Tires are not really going to be an issue here. 0 fast repairs. If you get hard into the wall, your night might be over.
Yeah, these drivers, especially compared to last week, they're not going to be clamoring for tires. But if you happen to mess up your right front tire at any point this run, you are going to be regretting it. It's not going to make you bail out of the pack and change your entire race unless you really do something wrong. But definitely going to be wishing to have a run back. And I'm sure you'll see some drivers that push a little bit too hard, a little bit too early, going to drop back through this field as the night rolls along. But with a cool track temperature at the nighttime here in the desert, it is going to be locked down, hammered down, all through the field, at least for this first run. And then we'll see how the pit strategy breaks this pack up. But a lot of the contenders we're expected to see at the front of the field scattered through the mid-pack and the back. We'll have to see how they're going to pick their way through the field tonight at Las Vegas. Field is under the control of the pole sitter, Rob Haynes and Rod Mitten. Rob and Rod to the green here in the desert. Haynes clear. Mitten gets down in front of Maydew. And Gary will have Will Kirk to his outside as they're too wide most of the way behind them.
Curious to see if this top line is going to be able to hang on speed-wise. Was thinking that maybe it was going to get single file pretty quick, but Rodolasso is going to move out, or excuse me, Mitten's going to move out to the top again, give up that second position in the bottom line.
Riley Tilton made a 3-wide move there in the tri-oval to move himself into the top 10. Mitten and Haynes right back to how they were pacing, this time going speeds upward of 175 miles an hour down the front stretch through the tri-oval.
And here with the oval refresh, drafting is going to play a much bigger part than it used to here around Las Vegas, especially at nighttime with cool track temperatures. Going to be able to hold it down to the floor just about all the way around the racetrack, and you're going to need some help behind you.
Maydew not making it easy here on Mitten in second. Zachary Gruber, that's a spin! Oh, hard into the inside wall, that's Moser.
Straight up the track.
And that is the first caution of the season, and boy, it is a pretty big one.
And that was Ted Moser that got turned down to the inside and then shot up the racetrack. Big names involved here. You see Andrew Schulte there in the 81. That truck is absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, Moser, Smith, Schulte, Hamby, and Pinsilla all pretty much done here. I mean, that's a pretty big who's who here.
I mean, there's a lot of top 10 drivers involved there.
And your reigning champion, the last driver to win here at Las Vegas, Andrew Schulte, and the last driver to win in the series. His night is over. First caution of the season here, working lap number 3 at Las Vegas.
Well, I was just about to mention Moser was blinking quite a bit there before the incident happened. Have to wonder if somebody thought that he was maybe somewhere on the track where they didn't think he was, and he maybe all of a sudden appeared again. We'll have to find out. So I think Moser had been blinking earlier, but looks like Riley Tilton has a little blink here as well. Tilton goes down underneath on the apron, trying to get that big run. Gonna end up getting 3 wide here with Radalasso and Moser and disappear. And then when he reappears, I mean, he's turning. Oh boy, he's turning Moser before he even reappears on the racing surface. So probably was hard for Tilton to tell where he was, let alone everybody else to tell where he was either. There's Moser straight up the racetrack, bouncing off the wall, gets into Heath Smith, pushes Smith up into Schulte, Milfelt, Hamby. There's that big shot for Hamby as well. 0-1 of Pansula involved right there. Gets into Moser and the outside wall. Roberts does a good job getting slowed down, stays away from it. Wow. Those were hard shots.
Going back and listening, I do believe Heath Smith, even on the first lap, was telling Riley Tilton that he was blinking a bit. That was...
I could have been wrong about that. It could have been Tilton rather than Moser that was blinking
well, I think
as well.
Watching from the blimp cam, I think they were both blinking, to be honest with you.
So that's just a kind of a bad situation there.
Yeah, it's the perfect storm. That was a very aggressive move, though, to be making on lap number 3 of this race.
Here's the onboard with Moser coming down the front stretch. Kind of minding his own on the bottom, then all of a sudden gets turned. Not anything he could do about that one.
An aggressive move, but I think that speaks to the power of track position here, especially early in the run, getting what you can get, having to get yourself, vault yourself up through the field, knowing that the field is going to get broken up in the pit cycle. So an aggressive move. Unfortunately, it comes at the expense of multiple drivers here who are more than likely out of the race or will continue multiple laps down. Johnny Hamby, I think, got his meatball flag cleared, but he is 1 lap down. He'll be in position for the lucky dog should the yellow flag wave for a second time tonight. Not a guarantee, but maybe now that we've opened the door, the rest of the drivers are just going to kick it all the way in.
Well, it was going to come at some point.
It certainly was.
Went 2 very heated and close battle racing for the first 2 races without a caution, unbelievably. But you kind of mentioned the track position so important here, especially after the refresh. When people start getting spread out, you want to get up to the front as quickly as possible, and aggressive moves being made early.
And Tilton, after the contact, by the way, still in the top 10. Everybody that was down pit road was at least in the vicinity of the accident this time. A couple of other drivers that were completely at the back of the field also came down. So we'll see how this has mixed everything up. The one thing that did not change is Rob Haynes is leading the field. He's elected the inside for the restart. Gary Maydew will be to his outside. Will Kirk and Matt Radalasso there on the, or rather, Rod Mitten and Will Kirk there on the second row. Radalasso there on row number 3. Rounds out your top 5. We're back underway. So officially, thus far at least, 2 retirees after the first caution of the season here in round number 3. Ted Moser, of course, with a big shot there, and Andrew Schultz, the reigning champ, last week's winner. He's looking to climb up the points with some of the other heavy hitters not here tonight, but he's basically just going to get show-up points. Gary Maydew with an aggressive move there to try and hang on to second. Kirk underneath now. As Rob Haynes continues to show the way.
And it's getting aggressive and packed up early again on this restart as well. Everybody is fighting for every position they can, every inch on the racetrack right now.
Johnny Hamby slowing down on the bottom of the track, but that was a choice. Top four pretty much nose to tail here out of the final turn. Maydew giving a shot here to Kirk, who's going to give one up to the race leader.
Maydew going to get forced down on the bottom. He's kind of been transitioning between the top and the bottom lanes. Now Mitten is there with help from Lasso.
His teammate, we saw a lot of this at Daytona. They both elected to take round number 2 off. But here they are, pushing again on the top side like it's a super speedway. How about that? Will Kirk, or rather Rob Haynes, gonna fall back to the middle of 3 wide now as Kirk takes the lead. Haynes trying not to get pinballed in the middle here.
Wow, Radalasso and Mitten working very well together. You mentioned them being teammates. I wasn't sure the very top lane would be able to come in this early, but they're sticking in there.
I wonder if that was a choice for Rob Haynes to drop back that hard, because that seemed really sudden.
Yeah, maybe got a bad push from behind or something. Didn't quite like it. Thought that maybe he needs to just take a break from that for right now.
Riley Tilton's internet woes are continuing. I think he is being posted by Race Control, which is unfortunate because he's nearing the top 5 right now. But it is also what caused our first caution of the season. So he's got to find his way out of line. And will.
Tom, we talked about newcomers here tonight. Jacob Gibson up to 6th already.
Yeah, we had quite a few people join today very late. We do not know a thing about Jacob Gibson other than he's in 6th place. And he's driving the 19 truck. That's all we got for you. But good job to him acclimating to our highest strength of field league that we have here on Turn 200 quite well.
And we have a couple of a couple of distinct lines starting to form here. Oh, wow! Little bit of a bad push there off center from Radalasso up to Mitten. That could have been disaster.
Yeah, we went from distinct lines to bumping and banging immediately right after you said that, and we may not be done with it.
48 minutes of required repairs for Schulten, by the way.
Oh, Lord.
I think you better just take her back to the hauler.
Yeah. It's enough time to DoorDash Taco Bell. Look at this.
Have fun with that all season.
Oh, I'm already having fun with it.
And we're starting to see a couple of different groups form here. This is what we saw in the Venom Truck Series a few weeks ago. It was a little bit of a smaller group, though. Here we still have right around the top 10 or 11 all together. And then a little bit of a gap back to Charlie Widener with Garrett Potts, Chris Voiles with him.
That's the other thing that we saw in the Venom Truck Series. They run 100% fuel capacity, but right around the time that they were breaking up in their long runs is about the time that these guys will be pitting. So it's going to serve the same purpose, but it's going to keep everybody bunched together for the duration of this run. In Las Vegas, a sneaky difficult pit road entry for a number of reasons.
Yeah, you're just able to carry so much speed off the corner. You don't really realize how fast you're traveling. And that line to get down to pit road speed just comes up really quick.
The other thing that, oh boy, That was contact, but they kept it to a minimum there. That's how close these guys are racing. The other thing is that Las Vegas has going on, the pit road entry is curved pretty dramatically. Even into the first 5 or 6 pit stalls, it's pretty curved. So it makes the line of sight on entry to what you're actually shooting for very difficult to judge. I found that out at a Next Gen lobby that you and I were in last week.
You certainly
and I
did find
was
out.
speeding by quite a bit. Only by 30 miles an hour or so. Just that much. How about Gibson? He's looking to be a factor here all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, up, I think started 10th, now up to 5th. And just kind of hanging around, not looking to get too crazy, which I think is probably a good idea at this point in the race.
Mention how rapidly Rob Haynes gave up the lead. I mean, it was like a light switch flipped, and he was leading and then dropped back from the middle of 3 wide, but did not lose this pack. He's up there behind Gibson on the top line.
Something to pay attention to here as well. You mentioned some drivers in the back of the field, or near the back of the field anyways, that had come down pit road, a couple that weren't involved in the accident that brought the caution out. I think Garrett Potts was one of them. He's currently sitting in 10th and did come down pit road with 4 extra sets of tires. I mean, you theoretically have like an extra set or 2 that you don't really need. So I'm thinking that he came down pit road on lap 5 or 6 there and took a set of tires just to give himself a little extra edge here in this first run.
Strategy galore is now Rod Mitten is to the outside of Will Kirk, looking to lead. Does it across the line. Rod Alasso bump drafted. And will get his teammate in motion to take the lead outright. Brennan Gregg and Matt Montembolt in the top 10. Montembolt had a decent run going at Daytona, elected to disconnect from the race early. Didn't make it but a couple laps into the Atlanta race last week before his night was over. But P7 right now. Brennan Gregg marched up through the field, fell back a little bit towards the end of the race, but still came away with a top 10 when it was all said and done. You never know who's going to be in this lead pack once the pit starts, or the pit stops start and finish. Who is going to make the right calls and be able to make them stick?
Top group of drivers starting to get single file there on the bottom. I thought this would happen a little bit earlier. Starting to happen now. Gibson trying not to get caught up by himself. But I think he's going to lose a position here to Will Kirk, probably.
I was going to say, Rob Haynes is feigning interest in helping Gibson here. He keeps at least looking up to the top side and then dropping back down. I think Haynes... Oh, boy, Rod Alasso got a bit upset there on the front bumper of Maydew. Gibson putting up a good fight, at least. And, oh, boy, that was close. He'll clear. So Kirk from the lead on the way back now.
When you're this wide open, I mean, at a track that's this wide open in the trucks, you really have to scratch and claw for every inch and ounce of a run you can get out of the corners here. And you see the drivers kind of trying to move from up the hill to down the hill on exit, just trying anything they can to give themselves a little extra boost of energy coming out of turns 2 and 4.
Goodleaf says they want a Crunchwrap Supreme and that it's my fault. No, it's Andrew's fault. Blame Schultup. I'm just an observationalist up here.
Here comes Garrett Potts. Up another couple positions. Fighting on the outside of Montalbot right now. Looking to get to the outside of Haynes. I think that extra set of tires, only 5 laps into the run, is starting to pay some dividends here.
Yeah, Potts up 17 positions, I think. Maybe 18 down from where he started. So that was may have been a swing, but it was a home run for sure. Huge net gain up to this point. So Minton and Radalasso teammates 1 and 2. Maydew and Gibson now 3rd and 4th. Maydew made 1 start last season. Gibson making his first start tonight. Haynes and Kirk, former leaders of this race. Wow.
Maydew.
All sorts of loose there in Maydew.
Somebody in the wall out the back. I think it might have been Brad Slagle. Yeah, it certainly was. Damage to the right side of the truck. Don't know. Looked like he may have made contact with somebody else just a touch, but it's hard to tell who it was, but definitely some damage to the right side of Slagle's truck.
This is the top 14 drivers all attached here. Ahead of our first round of green flag pit stops, if we make it that far. I don't know. Things are intensifying here pretty quickly.
Well, Maydew, after nearly getting Radalasso loose and almost spun around, he's lost a couple positions now. Gibson's gotten through to 3rd. Haynes is now underneath of Maydew. Maydew now working the outside.
We saw John Pansola leave pit road. He's multiple laps down after being involved in the first accident. Have yet to see anybody from the lead lap make a green flag pit stop, as that was an aggressive move to break up the teammates there. Gibson down into 2nd. That was a door shut.
Now, these drivers not giving an inch to their competitors right now, that's for certain. Would have it any other way here in the CNC Home Designs Truck Series.
Will Kirk pitting this time, so is Gary Maydew. So pit stops, getting ready to get going. Oh, contact behind! Is everybody slowing down? One truck across there.
Right at entrance to pit road as well.
Oh, my.
Minton ended up getting turned around. It was Haynes and Maydew, and I think Will Kirk that may have made contact right there in the beginning, trying to get slowed down.
That was an absolute mess.
But Rod Minton was sideways right at pit road entry there.
Somebody, I think the 43 of Nate Wright, was like parked across the pit road entry line. Here comes Mort. Oh, one more around. That's Turheimer.
That's Wally Turheimer. Wow. Well, you called that, Tommy. You said that pit road entry was difficult. I didn't know it was going to be this wild. Oh, and Slagle runs through his box as well. Mort looked like McRoberts nearly got turned around, actually on pit road as well, trying to get into his box. This has been wild.
Well, I think there are some people who don't have their radios tuned correctly. Is Brendan Gregg now going to come in from the lead? Because there were some complaints that people were not calling in their pit entries, but they absolutely were. So, always a reminder to make sure you have drivers and all teams on to make sure you know what's going on. So, top 4, Groover, Paradise, Evernham, and Van. Yet to make their stops. I think most, if not all, of those 4 were in under the caution period, so they can make it a few more laps. And I think Brennan Gregg and Rob Haynes are going to come out pretty close together. So all of a sudden, Gregg looking pretty good. Haynes going to cycle out to the lead. as Zachary Groover going to pit.
And those two well in front of everybody else. Maydew is going to lead the line. Widener, Rodolasso, Kirk, Burkhart in tow. And this gap, I'm sure, was made possible by the contact into pit road.
You don't say. Now that line of trucks is closing in pretty quickly here. We'll see if that continues to happen.
Here comes Paradise and Evernham. Milfeld's going to stay out one more.
And Milfeld will be pitting this time, he says over the radio, which will give the lead back to Rob Haynes and Brennan Gregg. Maydew leading that long line of trucks was about 1/10.5 quicker than Gregg last time. Some work to do to catch up, but about 0.7 of a second. They should be there in a few laps if they can keep up at this clip. I don't know if it's possible to go back and look at all that. I mean, where do you even start?
I don't know. I can certainly try to.
Well, we'll continue to watch this field form up and see what we got here while you try and pick the bones of that. We'll say Maydew is now starting to lose time on Brennan Gregg.
So pretty much everybody here is, it's going to be a two-stop race for everybody, except for the folks that came down on that first caution. I mean, you can split this race exactly into thirds. Come in lap 35, come in lap 70, race it out to 105. That's what everybody's doing. Nobody's really on an alternate strategy here.
Rob Haynes, the pole sitter, leading the way. Brennan Gregg started 13th in this one, so he's plus 11. And all of a sudden, in a great position to maybe look for the top spot. Group behind is closing again, little by little.
Yeah, that's that draft that we talked about earlier does come into play around this racetrack. Quite a bit more than some other 1.5 mile circuits. All right, Tommy, we're going to try to queue up a replay, see if I've hit this correctly. Here we are coming down. Yep, and it looked like Mitten was trying to get slowed down and got tagged by Gibson. Gibson tried to avoid, went up the racetrack. Mitten's going to get turned sideways. Oh, and you were right. The 43 was parked across and made massive contact with the 43 Mitten did, but Mitten was kind of already headed around as well. Then you see Burkhart, Kirk, and others. Haynes was right there. They had to try to avoid those two drivers that were parked right in the middle of pit entrance. And Garrett Potts got shoved into the wall there on that exchange as well. When Gibson tried to go up the racetrack to avoid contact with Mitten, made contact with Potts. Potts ended up into the outside wall. So Potts has fallen down to 16th here after having a really good opening run to get himself up well into the top 10. Is now falling back out of it.
Top 5 now, nose to tail. 6th and 7th, Matt Burkhart, Will Kirk not too far behind. They need to get on it to make sure they can stay in the lead pack here. Maydew trying to push Gregg to get past Rob Haynes. So it's Haynes, Gregg, Maydew, Widener, Rondolasso, Burkhart, and Kirk, the top 7, all attached here. Zachary Groover in 8th, Matt Montenbault in 9th, and Chris Boyles, I think, just made a pass to get up to 10th. but it's about a second, or rather 4.5 seconds back from Kirk to Groover. So this is more than likely, without another caution, your race winner is in this top 7 right now. And it might be Brendan Gregg. And by the way, if that stat holds up, there are 0 race victories in this top 7.
Wow, that's surprising.
For as good as this group is, yeah, it's very surprising. A number of podiums, a number of close calls, but never a win. At least since the 2023 season. I'm not sure about the first 4 seasons or so of Max V competition, but in our time here, no checkers.
Shout out to Jeff Mathis in the chat.
Yes, indeed. Truck, yeah.
Was that the help that you got on the setup yesterday?
I legally can't tell you.
Yeah. Well, if somehow, under some circumstance it was knocked out of the park. And we're really hoping for a Will Kirk win here. Otherwise, Goodleaf Archives is going to lose a Waffle House franchise there in South Carolina. So we don't want that.
East Central South Carolina, I think. Wherever that is.
It's right in the center, but it's a little east.
Of the South Carolina.
Yes. Lots of directions there.
How do West and North feel about that?
West?
Third base. Anyway. Greg leading, Maydew in second. Charlie Widener is now up to third. And I kind of thought that after we talked to Charlie Widener, and he was 20th on the starting grid, that we may have put a hex on him a bit. But he is overcome in spades here.
Yeah, he's certainly made good on it. Came right in on lap 35. That direct third of the race marker. And got himself into third. I mean, has done a whale of a job here.
Expect nothing less. And with problems for Heath Smith and Justin Michael and Andrew Schulte tonight, looking pretty good to take over the points lead.
There's a lot of folks looking good to jump in the points with a couple of drivers out that are always threats to win at just about every racetrack. And then, yeah, with that first melee on lap 4 or 5, I mean, a lot of the top 10 was taken out in that one as well. So there's a lot of positions up for grabs here.
Got his best revival Max V finish of the season, or of his career rather, at the Daytona season opener. Finished P4 there just off the podium in that melee. Followed it up with a 6th place last week. I mean, a consistent top 10 runner last season. And I think finished 8th in the points if I remember correctly. But Charlie Widener looking pretty good to inherit the early points lead. Unless things go wrong tonight. We'll see, though. Half an hour into this one, lap 54 on the board.
And only about 15 laps away from another round of pit stops. Justin Michael in the chat. Him and Greg Mall and Scott Patton are hanging out in Vegas for the NASCAR weekend. Wondering what happened to Andrew Schulte. First caution of the season happened, I believe, on lap 4. And Schulte got pushed up into the wall and completely lost the front end of the truck. And when I say lost it, I mean it is in the catch fence or the stand somewhere. So him, Heath Smith, I think Johnny Hamby was involved in that one as well. Quite a few drivers. Pansula had pretty heavy damage as well. A lot of drivers taken out in that one.
It sort of has set the tone for a chaotic evening. No cautions after that, but I mean, almost everybody wrecked coming into pit road in 2 separate groups there. And it's left us with this 7-truck breakaway. 7 trucks in the lead lap, that is. Will Kirk is fading back from Matt Burkhardt there in P6.
I'll tell you somebody that's been aggressive from the drop of the green flag, and that is Gary Maydew here in second. He has been doing everything he can to make the drivers in front of him a little bit uncomfortable, trying to wedge his way into any hole he can to advance his position.
You know, I am mistaken. I said this is Gary Maydew's second career start, but we had a Blake Maydew last season. No evidence that Gary ever ran with us, so this is Gary's true blue first night out here with Max V.
It's going to be interesting to see here in these last 10 laps of a run if there's really any difference in tire wear, if somebody can make a big a big push here at the end of a run or not. Obviously for Kirk's kind of losing the pack a little bit, might be struggling a little bit with his set of tires, but is anybody going to be able to make a run off of it?
Scrolling down the team channels, not a whole lot of dance partners up at the front of the field here. Oh, caution is out for the second time here tonight. Looks like the 43 is spun around. Nate Wright. And that certainly throws a wrench in things.
Yeah, not certain what happened here. We'll try to go find out, but you're right. As far as strategy goes, this is going to be close. This is going to be close on fuel. I don't know. This is going to be a tight one.
Did you get your fill on clutching last week?
There was plenty of clutching going on last week, but I think going to be maybe a similar amount going on here in this last run.
I think so.
I'm going to go ahead and back this up. This is Nate Wright. See damage to the left side. I think that happened. Oh, and he comes up across the nose of Paradise and gets put into the outside wall. And I think has plenty of damage to the truck. Gibson comes in with, probably 40 miles an hour more speed, if not more. And just doesn't expect Wright to be going that slow and piles into him as well. So, tough beginnings here for Wright.
And I think Wright was supposed to be in line for the restart, or rather for pit entry. Did not get up there. We do not clear black flags here in Max V, I don't believe. Unfortunately, that's going to come at the expense of Matt Rondolasso and Will Kirk.
Hey, Tommy.
Oh, boy.
I would assume Haynes and Burkhardt are going to be coming down this time, as they came into pit on lap 34. Yep, here they come.
So Haynes just wanted to lead a lap, even though I guess he already led one. So maybe just making sure it's going to be topped up.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what they're thinking. I think some of the drivers maybe going to try and stretch the fuel here. And they're going to come in as many times as they can to top off just one more lap around. Might be enough. Get them to the finish without having to come down pit road for a splash of fuel.
So Haynes will surrender control of the field back to Brennan Gregg. Charlie Widener got out second and made it back to third.
Wonder if we had some folks try a 2-tire stop here.
You think that could work?
Build it up on fuel, I would think. I don't know. I mean, there's a couple drivers up here that seems like they kind of leapfrogged in the running order through that pit cycle. Maybe just did a better job getting in their box, but maybe could have gone for 2 tires rather than 4 as well.
Lights should be off this time on the pace truck, and they are. Michael Milfelt got the lucky dog. Rod Mitten going to take the wave around here, as will Chris Voiles. So that should give us 18 trucks now on the lead lap. And Brennan Gregg going to take the bottom. Saw Rob Haynes take the top earlier. But Greg wants... Greg wants the bottom here. And Matt Schlosser cheering on Zachary Groover because they share a truck number. Truck number 40. Groover, one of many drivers, seemingly, that is having a great debut outing tonight in Max V. I don't know what it is about the mile and a halves, but they always seem to have a big influx of new drivers. Kansas last season had 5 or 6 new drivers as well. But they are making the regulars work for it, that's for sure. Gregg and Widener at the front of the field. Maydew and Evernham on row 2. Montebault and Groover, row 3. Paradise, McRoberts, Slagle, Van, the top 10. Green flag. Lap number 65 of 105. Will Kirk going to come and serve his penalty? It's Greg leading. Ashton Crowder in the chat.
Oh, we got
Groover's got some help, it looks like.
Got Sarah in the chat, cheering on Zach. Doing a nice job. He's up 21 positions here. Had a little help with some cautions, but we're going to see if he has something for the front of this field.
Oh.
Been right in the top 10 for a majority of the race.
And I want to ask Ashton how Road to Pro went tonight, but I actually want to go back and watch it, so maybe don't tell me. For third, Willie Evernham. Looking to make it work here on the bottom, and Will. Widener uprooted.
Widener kind of getting stuck out on the top here with nobody behind him to give him any help. Slagle, I thought, might give him a little bit of help, but decided to pull back down to the bottom. And Widener is going the wrong direction right now.
Brad Slagle up into top 10, really for the first time tonight. And not much of a truck length gap there, but we're going to make it fit.
By the way, Tommy, I think the longest anybody ran on that first round of pit stops was to lap 39. We theoretically have to do 41 here at the end of this race to make it on fuel. Now, I don't know if drivers were coming in before lap 40 because they were concerned about their tires or because they were running the fuel out. I would assume 39 was pretty close on the fuel number as well. So that's going to be something that we need to watch here.
Don't forget there was a caution in that number as well. Going to be awfully close. If it's going to be close at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of drivers tucked in together here. I mean, there's a big possibility for another incident before this one's over. Drivers have been very aggressive towards the front of the field.
Let's assume we're going green from here on out. Oh, boy, but it's hard to make that assumption with moves like that. Willie Evernham with Gary Maydew right behind him. The question is, if you know you're not going to make it on fuel, do you pit early? Do you pit late? Do you run it out and hope for a caution?
I mean, with the nature of this field right now, I think you would have to run it out. I wouldn't want to risk coming in and maybe getting caught a lap down when a caution comes down. That's for certain.
The big beneficiary of this late race caution is going to be Willie Evernham. All of a sudden, Willie's in the mix, and he is looking for the lead. He had great pace at Chicagoland in the practice race.
Whoa!
Oh!
Little
Wow!
bit of contact there.
That's Groover that came up into Slagle.
Looked like Groover just lost the nose a tad. Came up and made a slight contact there with Slagle. Not a whole lot of harm done other than just losing a little bit of a run. Maydew aggressively pushing Evernham down the straight there.
Maydew's not been discriminating tonight. He will help whoever to the front and then try and leave him behind. You see it there in the chat. Andrew Schulte says his fuel number was 36-ish. Ours was 35 coming into the race. Both of those numbers decidedly smaller than 41. Groover under fire. Another beneficiary of that caution was Jacob Gibson. We mentioned the contact with Rod Mitten there at the front of the field. Gibson actually got up into the wall after that contact. And well lost touch with the lead pack, but it was all said and done. And Gibson given another opportunity here and trying to make the most of it. Side drafting Zachary Groover with all he's got.
Yeah, Gibson did a great job when he was here at the front of the field. Oh, looks like nearly a little bit of contact between those two as well.
A little tire smoking.
Nobody wanting to give a single inch to their competitors here as we come down the stretch. Have they all raced, really? Probably not, but especially right now.
Real estate just as valuable on the track as it is off here in Las Vegas. Cannot afford to be giving up any positions here as the laps keep ticking away.
According to Schulte, the fuel number was around 36, so that makes sense to be able to stretch it to 39 with the pit stop. That tells me that we're going to have to come down for a splash.
3 wide. Weiner got put up top.
Yeah, Weiner has gone backwards quite a
Maybe-
few positions here.
Maybe a conscious effort, but I don't know if I'd be voluntarily moving myself back, even trying to save tires. Especially not with as hard as these two are battling here. They're starting to lose touch a bit with the top 3.
We're going to go on board here with Weiner stuck in the middle, really kind of at the rear of this front pack.
Maydew just made a move up top, pulls back into line though. Oh, and there's contact. Again, Groover moving up the track just a bit into the side of Jacob Gibson, who's working him over. Again, as they continue to sort of door check and side draft each other, they are losing touch with the top 3. Gibson finally going to get clear.
And some blinking there for Montenbalt up on the top side.
Weiner again on the
line.
top
Whoa.
of 3 wide, as that was Haynes and Slagle making contact underneath him. Again, they need to get it sorted out. Immediately as they go 3 wide, everybody in front of them gets single file, and they start to lose touch big time. You can't take but a lap or 2 of that before you're out of it.
With the onboard shot, by the way, did not appear that Weiner was really trying to save much, so I don't think that's really in the cards here. This racetrack is just too fast in these trucks. You can't lift at all to save fuel, otherwise you're just going to lose a ton of position.
Willie Evernham, the race leader. Gary Maydew is all over the back bumper there. Brennan Gregg plodded along in 3rd, some distance back to Jacob Gibson in 4th, Matt Montenbalt in 5th, Zachary Groover in 6th, and Rob Haynes back in P7.
Maydew has been happy to run 2nd here, but he's letting you know that he's there. Interested?
I think Evernham is well aware of how close Maydew is to him right now.
But interested to see if Maydew actually has a move to make a pass rather than just getting to the bumper. Hasn't really tried a whole lot of moves to get to the lead all night. He's been 2nd behind a couple of different drivers.
Field coming up on Rod Mitton, who again had big damage from the first green flag pit stop. I guess really the only green flag pit stop. .374 Garrett Potts from 14th says he's pitting this time. Wally Turheimer in as well. Turheimer, another one that picked up damage there in the green flag pit cycle. And there's Maydew up to the top. But again, pulls back down in the line.
Yeah, he's been running that line just to get a nice wide entry into the corners. Pulls up to the top almost every corner entry, especially down there into turn 3.
Thought maybe he was a bit to the outside there. Was going to try and make something work, but that thought did not last very long.
Everything behind them started to get single file as well. This group behind was double wide for a couple of rows for a long time. They finally got singled up and starting to make a little headway back to those top 3.
Yeah, Matt Montenbalt got past Zachary Groover to move himself into the top 5. Has not been trying to make any moves on Jacob Gibson. That gap is growing as Brennan Gregg from 3rd is pitting this time. Will it be cleaner? I'd say for the most part, yes.
Oh,
some
contact behind.
there.
That was Slagle. Got into Groover.
Yeah. It's like got awfully loose there, running on the paint. Willie Evernham, the race leader, pitting this time. And Maydew will be pitting as well.
How ugly is it going to get this time around?
Charlie Widener coming in as well.
Evernham, Maydew do a good job. So does Widener. And
Bill Paradise. So the top 5 now, Gibson, Montebault, Haynes, Burkhart, and Van. Jacob Gibson, now the leader, will be pitting this time. Will it stay clean?
Oh, Gibson got underneath the white line maybe a little sooner than he wanted to. Ends up working out, though.
Almost a role reversal there. I think that was Rod Mitten that was behind him. Haynes, Burkhart, and Van, the top 3. Michael Melfelt also still out on track. But out of those who have pitted, I believe Gary Maydew is the race leader, at least for now. Brennan Gregg out in second.
All right, so Gibson is going to take right side tires here with the pit stop. Montebault took all 4. I don't know if that was by mistake or if that was by design.
Looking to see where Gibson's going to cycle out here. He's ahead of Gregg, but Gregg is closing up with a head of steam. I'd say he's okay to hang in the top 3. But Gregg and Maydew should blow on by.
Didn't really get a chance to see what Maydew and Gregg did as far as tires goes.
Gibson blocking Maydew here. Gibson trying to stay in second. Here comes Haynes and Burkhart. Michael Van pit last time. Michael Milfeld going to stay out to lead a lap here, but he'll be the last one to come down pit road. Of the lead lap trucks, anyway.
Milfeld can stretch it a few more if he wants to, so might be hoping for a caution to come out at some point here.
Milfeld will be pitting this time if that yellow laundry stays put away.
Haynes coming off of pit road. Here comes your will-be leader, Brennan Gregg. Flies by. So does Gibson. Maydew's going to come with a head of steam. Haynes is going to come out in 4th.
Not too bad. It's a bit of a pickup there for Haynes, despite the fact that he's been up front leading laps tonight. This is not where he came in from initially. But now, without the caution, the battle lines are drawn.
Couple of tandems up front here now. You got Gregg and Gibson in the 18 and the 19, and then Haynes and Maydew behind them by over half a second. Maydew tried to make a run on Haynes and then lost a bunch of time because of it.
Haynes might be in a good spot here. I think he's a little bit further back draft-wise than he wants to be. But again, the freshest tires of those up front. It's got to be worth something. Yeah, he's already closed up a 10th on this lap already. I'd say Haynes is in a good spot.
Wow, Rod Mitten not really giving any room to the leaders here.
Yeah, something tells me Rod is not happy about the contact on pit road earlier. That's just a guess, though. And boy, that really got Jacob Gibson all out of sorts. Pass for second may be inevitable, but it was certainly helped along there. And unfortunately for Brendan Gregg, his line of defense was going to be Jacob Gibson. That pass happened so quick that now Rob Haynes is looking to go to the lead.
Yeah, Haynes is on a rocket ship right now. Came in
Rob Haynes,
5 laps after Gregg.
The pole sitter, is back to the front of the field. Closing in on 5 laps to go. But we're not done yet. Haynes got a top 5 last week at Atlanta.
Gregg is able to stick with Haynes, but as easily as Haynes got around Gregg, I would assume it's going to be very difficult for Gregg to be able to mount a charge to actually make a pass here.
Five to go. Top 3 all still together. Boy, isn't this setting up for another classic Max V finish like we've had here the last 2 weeks to open the season.
If these 3 slide across the grass at the finish, the stream's just going to end.
Well, get ready. May not be a prediction, it may be a spoiler. We're going to find out here, coming to 3 to go. Gibson weathered the storm there of Rod Mitten and is right back to it.
And this is a case that Gibson might be able to help Gregg get a run on the outside or inside of Haynes. Those two could potentially work together here.
Two to go. First place has not been the place to be on the final lap in Max V this season. Heath Smith was 7th, entering the tri-oval. Andrew Schulte was 3rd, crossing the line to take the white flag last week. Are we in for another one? White flag. Gregg is backing up to Gibson.
Oh, Gibson gonna try to get underneath, wasn't able to.
That moves Gregg up the track. Haynes gonna come up to defend. Photo finish here last season. We may be in for another one. Gregg looking to the outside, looking to get a run somewhere. But the run is not going to materialize. Rob Haynes is going to take his first win with Max V. Photo finish behind them for 4th. Charlie Widener, I think, going to snag it at the line by 2/100ths of a second. But Rob Haynes, 2 weeks removed from his best finish in the Maximum Velocity CNC Home Designs Truck Series at Daytona, tonight he'll finish 3 better and take his first career win.
And I feel like this is going to be a popular one. Maybe a long time coming here for Haynes.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Rob Haynes, at least since the revival of Max V, first international winner. Gonna take a checkered flag, claim it for the Maple Leaf here tonight in the desert of Las Vegas. Good burnouts here too. I give it a 10.
For sure. He's been practicing those for tonight.
And perfect finish. At the start-finish line here, Rob Haynes taking his first win. Brennan Gregg and Jacob Gibson. Hopefully we'll talk to all three of these gentlemen momentarily. Charlie Winder going to finish in P4. Willie Evernham just eked out at the line there, but we'll take a top 5. Matt Monsenbolt in P6. Debut tonight for Zachary Groover. We'll net him a 7th. Matt Burkhardt in 8th. Brad Slagle and Gary Maydew will slip all the way back to 10th there after being at the front of the field pretty much all night long. Ryan McRoberts in 11th. Bill Paradise in 12th. Wally Terheimer, Chris Boyles, and Michael Van in P15. Garrett Potts in 16th. Michael Milfeld then will finish in 17th. 2 down and 18th after the penalty there late is Will Kirk. John Pansilla in 19th after the lap 3 crash damage for him. And then DNFs for Rod Mitten in 20th, Johnny Hamby in 21st, Matt Rodolasso in 22nd, Nate Wright in 23rd, Riley Tilton, Keith Smith, James Lehman, Ted Moser, and the reigning champion Andrew Schulte down in P28. Time now to talk to your podium finishers. And we'll make our acquaintance here with your third place finisher tonight, Jacob Gibson. Pretty good first showing here in the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. Congrats on the podium.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You're up at the front pretty much all night there after working your way up from starting spot number 10. I mean, we'll get to the late race run-ins there as this one goes along. But, I mean, starting 10th, picking your way up through the field in a hammer-down event like this is not too easy.
No, this is one of my better tracks, too. So the key for me is always kind of lifting into the corner just a little bit because you kind of maintain speed all the way through. So you save a little bit more tires than everybody else, which kind of helps in the long run, which is why I was able to work my way up just so much over the time. But yeah, man, kind of unfortunate that I got caught up when people were pitting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get out of the way, so it kind of pushed me back a little bit. But I was happy to work my way back up when that caution came out to kind of save my race, to be honest.
I was going to say, yeah, it's you were the big beneficiary, or one of the big ones anyway, of that caution coming out. I mean, it looked like after the contact, you got up close to the wall or into the wall. But either way, I mean, a great rally, all things considered.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I got into the wall. I think I had quite a bit of repairs, so I kind of went back out there and hoped for a caution because that was really the only way that I was going to be able to get back into it. And luckily, I had just enough time to get my repairs done before the pace car passed me and kind of worked my way back up from the back.
Matt, what do you got here?
Yeah, congrats on a good run here. And then as we're coming to that last pit stop, not going to be able to make it on fuel for those last 40 laps. I mean, are you looking at 2 tires, 4 tires? It looked like you took 2 on your pit stop, but what were your thoughts kind of going in there?
2 tires for sure. That was kind of always the plan, even towards the end of the race. I mean, regardless whether I was fighting for the win or not. But 2 tires here kind of to close out, I feel like is always really beneficial for me. I don't know about for everybody else. It just kind of depends on where their tires are at. But like I said, just kind of I like to save a little bit over the time being. And, taking 2, you actually gets you a little bit looser, I feel like, when you take 2. And that's almost kind of helpful coming out of 3 and 4 right there. So that 2 tires was definitely the move.
Well, great rallies multiple times here tonight to catch up and at least try and make an attempt there to go for the win at the end of the race. But, great night. Great first night out for you here with Max V. Do you have anybody you want to shout out or say hi to?
Shout out to the boys, Silas and Jackson back home. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, man, looking forward to it. This is a fun league. It was a great first race. Looking forward to a lot more.
Absolutely. We'll look forward to hearing from you down the line again, but go celebrate the Pre-3 tonight.
Cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
And now, Brennan Gregg has arrived here in booth 200, and he's arrived as a podium finisher in Max V competition. Excellent job here tonight. Congrats on the finish.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I sort of picked you out as having pretty good pace last week at Atlanta. But a whole different ball game here tonight, even though it is a mile and a half. You picked your way up the field from 13th up to second, was really a player in the entire back half of the race here tonight. How did the track position materialize for you?
I think for the most part, it just came after that first round of pit stops. I managed to save a little bit of fuel, got to stay out an extra lap, and that seemed to help me kind of avoid all the chaos, get a little bit of clean air. After that, I was up to second for a while and got around for first. Then after that, I thought just holding track position was key, so 2 tires at the end.
And Rob was coming up with 5 lap fresher tires here. He came up pretty quick. You lost your line of defense there with Gibson getting caught up in lap traffic, so... how hard were you trying to defend there versus Haynes, who looked like he had really good pace?
For the most part, I was honestly just more confused about how fast he got up to us. I think pace-wise, I didn't have much to defend, so I didn't really try and defend too hard with anything. I just didn't have enough to fight him.
Matt, what do you got here for the runner-up?
Yeah, congrats on the P2. It was a great race for you here tonight. I'm a little curious, like you are. Rob came on you guys pretty quick. I'm wondering if he may have had a difference in tire strategy than you. What was your tire strategy there with that last pit stop?
Tire strategy for the last pit stop was just to take 2 tires and fill it up with fuel. I got caught up some kind of delay in the pit lane, so lost probably about 2 seconds through there. Pace-wise, I don't understand how exactly he managed to make that tire strategy work so much better, but he ended up doing it way better than I was able to.
Well, I think start number 9 for you tonight in Max V competition, and it's your first podium, second top 5. The results are starting to come here in bunches, so congrats to you. Do you have anybody you want to shout out or say hi to?
I'd like to shout out Average Joe Motorsports, Brad Slago for helping me out throughout that race, just about everyone else on that team as well. Just awesome run for everyone.
Well, an awesome run to you. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you more here down the stretch, but go celebrate the P2.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and now we had our race winner. And he has gone walkabout on us. Not sure where he ended up. Uh-oh. Don't tell me that we're not going to talk to our race winner here.
And a first time at that.
He was just here. What happened? Does Canada have like some sort of like internet meter? Well, I guess we'll wait to see if he pops back in here. But in the meantime, I think expectations for you and I were a bit mixed after what we saw. Nothing against the Venom Truck Series drivers because it isn't their fault, but this is a difficult beast to tame. But again, Max V did a pretty nice job here tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was a great race here. Like you said, our expectations were maybe a little low, given the race that we had seen here previously in the trucks. Just with the maybe a bit of a different setup here tonight might have helped the cause here. But the drivers were putting on a show. Aggressive moves throughout throughout the field, really. I mean, we had a lot of drivers come from pretty deep in the field and drive their way into the top 10 and deep into the top 10 at that. So, I mean, certainly great stuff from the drivers here tonight. And, I mean, we have said that every week that they have been on coverage, and it's just not going to change.
Well, it's I think Rob Haynes had some sort of disconnect because he disconnected from the session due to upload packet loss, but he is back in the Discord. So we will now talk to your first-time race winner there after a bit of a scare. But Rob Haynes is in booth 200. Congrats on the win.
I hope you guys can hear me.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, Tommy, because I'm not sure what happened to my headphones there, but they've cut out, so I brought out a backup pair.
Well, that's good that you're prepared. That's better than some folks that we've had up here at the booth. But I mean, you came to play here tonight. You got the pole, led quite a few laps. You did fade away a couple of points during our longer green flag runs, but all of a sudden there, when we sort of maybe had you not up in the mix, you come flying up there after the final stop there, inside of 10 laps to go. How did that come to be?
Just hey, the big guys weren't here tonight. I mean, a lot of the big names guys weren't here tonight. Michael and Schulte got wrecked out early there. I feel that's terrible. But man, I don't know. Just had some fantastic pit stops, pit entry. I just worked it out during practice and managed to get some fantastic stops there. And getting back out off a pit road and onto the track was it worked out really nice tonight the way it happened. And I don't know, man, it was fun tonight. I was having fun, and it worked out in the end there, Tommy.
I think back to the beginning of this race, you're leading. All of a sudden, it looks like Will Kirk has a run on you, and then just as quickly as that, you're in the middle of 3 wide and moving backwards. I think you ended up in 4th after that. Was that a conscious decision early to drop back and fall into line, or was that just the pace differential at that point in the race?
Yeah, I cut William a break there. He came into our team speak there, and I wanted to save a bit of fuel and not run my tires as hard as I was doing up front. So I didn't think it was going to be an issue. But then once I got 3 wide, I thought, oh boy, this has changed things. So I just fell back in line and just waited till pit stops to happen, and hope I had a good stop and get out at least beside them.
Matt, what do you got here for our race winner?
Yeah, just a big congratulations on the race win. I mean, after that last pit stop, I mean, you just had a blazing speed up to the front, too. I mean, how were you able to get that much pace out of the truck after that last pit stop, much more than those 2 in front of you?
I don't know, just 2 tires on that last stop and a bit of fuel, and that's it. Just I hauling butt off turning 2 there. That's all I can say. And I know they pitted maybe 1 or 2 laps early. I'm really not sure. I'd have to go back and look and see when Brennan and Jacob pitted. But it must have been before me because my right tires held up for the duration there and got me by both of them.
Well, it's a popular win in the chat. I'm sure it'd be a popular win with your fellow competitors here in Max V. And one of the best burnouts we've seen in a while, too, as well.
Appreciate that.
Good work all around here tonight. I know you got people you want to thank and shout out here, so we'll leave you to it.
Yeah, of course. You guys in the live broadcast, it's awesome listening to Turn 200. I know I broadcast in another league as well, and it's a lot of fun, and we appreciate what you guys do. And Maximum Velocity and James is cheering me on tonight. I know he was having fun, so thanks to him and Bandit Motorsports and my 3 daughters. Appreciate everybody in life, man. It's fun when you get a win in this series, and that might be my only one all year. Who knows? We'll see. It just worked out tonight, and it's going to help in the points. And I think I'm not sure if we're winning. You're in here for the chase, but if that's the case, then I'm pretty happy heading through the rest of the season.
Hey, you said the heavy hitters weren't here tonight. They are here tonight, and one of them's in Victory Lane. You've been making this more and more of a common thing running up front. So I know we'll be talking to you again here soon. But go celebrate the win in the meantime.
Appreciate that, Tommy. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah. We've already put our thoughts out there on Las Vegas tonight. Always cool to see a first-time winner here on the channel, Rob, and a guy that, I mean, had a lot of great runs last season. The finishes didn't always come with it for one reason or another, but I mean, Rob spent some time up front last season. He's already spent some time up front this season. I mean, just in these first 3 races alone, I think he's led 47 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Rob Haynes, fixture up at the front already this season, and looking to stay that way. But that's about all I've got to say on Las Vegas tonight. Matt's a pretty lively bunch with us in the chat tonight.
Certainly was. First, I want to say I think Rob deserves a little more credit than he's given himself as well.
Agreed.
I seem to think that he only won because the heavy hitters weren't here, but I feel like this might be one of those situations where he's finally kicked the door down and more wins and seconds and thirds are going to just start flooding in the doorway now. So, yeah, it was a big night for Rob and awesome to see, but awesome to see everybody else in the chat as well. Lots of folks hanging out with us. Very much appreciated. Unfortunately, Andrew Schulte was one of them because he was not in a large majority of this race, but was having Taco Bell on the side. Good Leaf Archives, Ashton Crowder, Sarah cheering on Zach, Matt Schlosser. Let's see, Justin Michael and the boys in Las Vegas were hanging out with us. D. Nicole. Oh boy, let's make sure we don't forget anybody. Oh, of course, Michelle Kirk, Shelly Mall up there earlier. I think that is it. Apologize if I missed anybody. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Always a treat to have you chatting with us here during the races. It's always fun for us. Hopefully it's fun for you as well. And we'll see you on down the road.
Absolutely. For next week's race for the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series, we are at Phoenix with the open dog leg and the whole kit and caboodle. Oh, and you know what? Almost did it again. Not going to do it again. Layman's Mega Money Mania. Matt Williamson decided before the race that 17th place is going to walk away with the money here tonight. And that would be the 155 of Michael Milfeld. So Mike Milfeld gets a bit of a bonus here tonight, as does Rob Haynes for winning the race. But yeah, did not forget Layman's Mega Money Mania, Michael Milfeld, P17 is the random finisher in the field tonight. That will get a little bit of a bonus. So a little bit of a pick-me-up for Mike, who probably did not have the night that he was looking forward to having here at the mile and a half at Las Vegas. But yeah, so we'll be at Phoenix next week for round number 4 of the season. Between now and then, not a whole lot going on all of a sudden here. A little bit more free time on Turn 200, at least for another couple months or so. Sunday afternoon, things took an interesting turn today in the Thursday top split race for the Mission R Challenge. JJ Wang may have locked it up with a runner-up finish. Not 100% sure, but it looks pretty good for the defending champ to go back-to-back. To be 100% certain about that, you'll have to tune in to the Sunday Top Split Strength of Field broadcast for the Mission R Challenge. Circuit Zandvoort, the new scan, will be making its debut here on Turn 200. So be ready for that. I've been dying to get Zandvoort on this channel for a while, and it's finally going to happen. So Circuit Zandvoort on Sunday afternoon for the Mission R Challenge, 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for that. Then... no Monday, no Tuesday. How about Wednesday for the Daredevil series from Legacy, Kentucky? That is where you'll find us the night before round number 4 for the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series at Phoenix next week. So to be sure that you are here on time for everything that we got going on Turn 200, be sure to hit subscribe. Hey, if you hit subscribe before the end of the stream here tonight, you're going to be number 600 for us. So I remember a couple of our various 100 subscribers. Maybe this one will stick in my craw for some reason. We're gonna find out. But yeah, getting closer to 1,000 little by little. Appreciate everybody that's coming and hanging out with us night in and night out here. Not just for Max V, but for all the series that we got here on Turn 200. Appreciate every single one of you. That is about all we've got for you here tonight for everybody with the Maximum Velocity CNC Home Designs Truck Series For the GOAT, the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson, I'm Tommy Cook. Until we meet again, we say so long from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where Rob Haynes stands tall as a first-time Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series race winner. This has been a live broadcast on Turn 200. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when we go live next. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.